One afternoon, Chinny called Naomi to the living room. "Naomi, come here. Sit down, let's talk," she said in a calm, almost sweet voice. Naomi was surprised. Chinny had never allowed her to sit on the sofa before. She paused for a moment, but then walked over and sat down carefully. "Don't be scared," Chinny said, asking her to relax. "Let's just talk." Naomi sat on the sofa, still unsure of what was going on. Chinny's voice softened as she began to speak. "I know I've been hard on you ever since you came into this house. I've said things I shouldn't have, and I've treated you badly. But today, I want to make things right," Chinny said, looking Naomi straight in the eye. "I want to treat you like my younger sister from now on. Please forgive me for all my past mistakes." Naomi blinked, confused, but then smiled lightly. "Ma'am, I don't hold any hard feelings. We're good. Thanks for letting me stay in your home," she said, trying to use the same calm tone as Chinny. For a moment, it seemed like the bad feelings were gone. Chinny smiled back, and there was a warmth in her eyes that Naomi hadn't seen before. "Can I ask you for a favor?" she asked, her voice gentle. "Anything, ma'am," Naomi replied, wanting to keep the peace. Chinny smiled. "I'm not good at cooking. Can you make some noodles for me?" Naomi's face lit up. She was happy to do something for Chinny, especially since things seemed to be getting better. "Of course. I'll make it right away." She hurried to the kitchen and cooked the noodles, bringing a bowl to Chinny when it was ready. Chinny looked pleased as Naomi set the bowl in front of her. Then Naomi excused herself and went to her room, thinking everything was fine. A few seconds later, she heard Chinny's voice screaming from the living room. Naomi's heart skipped a beat as she rushed out to see what had happened. "Ma'am, what happened?" Naomi asked, her voice shaking. Chinny was standing, her face twisted in anger. "So, you want to poison me?" she yelled. "What did I ever do to you?" Naomi's mouth fell open in shock. "Ma'am, I didn't put anything into your food. Please believe me," she said, trying to stay calm. Chinny pointed an accusing finger at Naomi, tears running down her face. "I saw you with my own 2 eyes. You put something in my food. This wicked girl wants to take my life," she cried out, looking at Francis as he walked into the room. Francis was confused, looking between the 2 women. "What's going on here?" he asked, his voice tight. Chinny cried louder, pointing at Naomi. "Look at her. She's the one. She's trying to poison me," she shouted, almost wailing. Naomi stepped forward, trying to tell her side. "Ma'am, I swear I didn't put anything in your food. I was just trying to help." But Chinny wasn't listening. She continued to shout, her eyes wide with fake fear. "She's lying, Francis. She's poisoned my food." Naomi, desperate to prove her innocence, couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed the bowl of noodles that Chinny had barely touched, and without thinking, ate a large spoonful in front of them. "There, you see," Naomi said, swallowing the noodles. "There's nothing in your food. I didn't poison you." But before she could finish speaking, Naomi felt a sharp pain in her stomach. She bent over, holding her belly as the room spun around her. "Naomi!" Francis shouted, rushing toward her as she fell to her knees, struggling to breathe. "What's happening? Are you okay?" I don't know. It hurts," she cried, tears streaming down her face. Chinny stood at the side, watching Naomi in silence. Then, a cruel smile appeared on her face, and she started to laugh. "I told you, Francis," she said, almost happy. "I saw her with my own eyes. She poisoned the food." Francis was in a panic. He turned to Naomi, who was now lying on the floor, holding her stomach, her breathing shallow. "Naomi," he shouted. "Hold on. I'm taking you to the hospital." He picked Naomi up in his arms and rushed out of the house, his mind racing. He couldn't believe what was happening. What had Chinny done? Was this all a trick? Naomi slowly opened her eyes in the hospital bed. The gentle beeping of the machines was the first sound she heard. Francis was sitting beside her, holding her hand tightly. His face was full of worry, but when he saw her awake, his eyes softened with relief. "Naomi, you're awake." "Thank God," he said, his voice shaky. Naomi tried to smile but was still weak. "What happened?" she asked quietly, her voice barely a whisper. "You collapsed after eating the noodles," Francis explained. "But you're okay now. The doctor said you're going to be fine." Naomi closed her eyes again, remembering the pain and how Chinny had blamed her. She felt tears starting to form inside, but she didn't say anything. Francis looked at her with serious eyes. "Naomi, I have to tell you something." He paused. "I checked the living room cameras. Chinny did something terrible. She set you up." Naomi looked at him in shock. "What do you mean, sir?" "Chinny, she put something in that food to make it look like you were poisoning her," Francis said, his voice growing harder with each word. "I saw it all on the video. She's the one who did this." Naomi stared at him, surprised. "But why? What did I do to deserve this?" Francis looked down, his heart heavy. "I don't know. But I will make sure she pays for what she did." With that, he stood up and left the room, his mind set on confronting Chinny. When he got home, he didn't hold back. He walked into the living room where Chinny was sitting. "Pack your things and leave my house," Francis said. "What's going on?" Chinny asked. "Don't pretend you don't know," Francis replied. "There's a camera in this living room, and I've seen everything. If I call the police, you'll be in big trouble. So just leave." With that, Francis turned and walked away, leaving Chinny standing there, shaking. She knew there was no way out now. Ashamed, she quietly gathered her things and left, her head down. Days passed, and Naomi slowly got her strength back. She was back in the house, resting in the room that Francis had prepared for her. Francis came to her one afternoon, sitting by her side with a smile on his face. "Naomi," he said gently, "I just wanted to tell you how much I value you. You didn't deserve any of this. You're a good person, and I want to make things right." Naomi looked at him, still not fully understanding what was happening. "I'm just glad I'm okay," she replied softly. "You are more than okay," Francis continued. "I've been thinking a lot about your future. You told me you wanted to go back to school, right?" Naomi nodded slowly, unsure of what he was planning. Francis smiled, his eyes shining with kindness. "I've already spoken to the right people, and I've made sure you're enrolled again. I'll help you with the fees. Whatever you need, I'll be here to support you. This is your chance to chase your dreams." Naomi's eyes widened. "You're serious?" "Of course I am," he said, his voice firm but warm. "You deserve every chance, Naomi. I believe in you." Tears filled Naomi's eyes as she looked at him, feeling overwhelmed with thanks. "Thank you, sir. You don't know how much this means to me." "You don't have to thank me," Francis said, his voice full of real feeling. "You're family now, and family takes care of each other." Naomi smiled, feeling a warmth she had never felt before. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she had a real chance at a future where she could finally be free of fear and doubt. And with Francis by her side, Naomi knew she could do anything. She wasn't alone anymore. One evening, Francis sat in the living room, deep in thought. Naomi walked in to ask if he needed anything. Her simple smile and gentle voice always had a way of calming him. "Naomi," he said, looking up at her. "Yes, sir," she replied, standing politely, her hands joined in front of her. "Come and sit," Francis said, patting the seat beside him. Naomi paused, but eventually sat down. For a moment, he didn't say anything, just looking at her. Then he spoke, his voice soft but firm. "Naomi, you've been through so much, yet you're always kind. You never complain. Your quiet strength, it surprises me." Naomi blinked, surprised. "Sir, I'm just doing my best." "No, it's more than that," Francis said, his eyes meeting hers. You've changed my life in ways I didn't expect. And I think I've fallen in love with you." Naomi's eyes grew wide. She was speechless. "I know it's sudden," Francis continued, "but my heart has never been this sure about anything." "Sir," Naomi started, her voice shaking, "you're a big man. I'm just—" "Don't say that," Francis interrupted gently. "It's not about where you came from. It's about who you are. And you, Naomi, are amazing." Naomi looked down, her heart racing. She didn't know what to say. "Take your time," Francis said. "But I just wanted you to know how I feel." A few months later, Francis called Naomi into the living room. This time, he wasn't sitting. He was standing, dressed neatly, holding a small velvet box in his hand. "Naomi," he began as she walked in, her heart pounding. "I've made up my mind. I want you to be my wife." Naomi gasped. "Sir, are you sure?" Francis smiled. "I've never been sure about anything in my life. You're everything I've been looking for." Tears filled Naomi's eyes as she looked at him. "But I don't know how to be a wife. I don't know how to live like you." "We'll learn together," Francis said, taking her hands in his. "All I need is you by my side." Naomi nodded slowly, her heart full of joy and disbelief. "Yes, sir. I'll marry you." Francis laughed, pulling her into a hug. "No more, sir. Call me Francis." Their wedding was small but beautiful. Close friends and family gathered to celebrate the unexpected love story. Naomi wore a simple white dress, and Francis couldn't take his eyes off her. As they exchanged promises, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. It was a story of hope, love, and a second chance. Naomi's life changed forever. From a homeless girl on the streets to the cherished wife of a kind man. Her journey was proof that kindness and persistence could lead to great things. Francis kept his promise to support Naomi's dreams. She went back to school and later started a group to help young girls in need. This story teaches us that life can take surprising turns, and no matter how tough things get, kindness, humility, and persistence will always win. It reminds us never to judge people by their situation, but by the goodness of their hearts. True love isn't about money, position, or looks. It's about seeing the beauty in someone's soul and standing by them no matter what. What did you learn from this story? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Who's Mommy's little sweetheart? Yes, you are. I'm gonna get you.